Hello again. This is part 2 of our video series on how to use LabVIEW. In this video, I'm going to focus on tips and tricks that will be useful for you in our labs. The first thing is to open up LabVIEW, which might not be as easy as it sounds. A lot of you will suspect that typing LabVIEW here is what you should do, and lots of things related to LabVIEW come up, but the application that we want does not pop up. This LabVIEW robotics is not what you want. If you click on that, a lot of it looks like what you want, but eventually you'll find out that it's not actually what you want. Instead of doing that, come here and go down to the ends for National Instruments and just select LabVIEW 2018 64-bit. Select that, it'll open up for you. This will pop up like this. And I would recommend at this point to right click here and pin to taskbar. That will make things easier for you in the future. You'll be able to skip everything we just did, so long as you grab the same laptop each time. And I do recommend that, not only for this reason, but for other reasons. Anytime you log on to one of these laptops for the first time, it's going to set up a profile for you. That takes quite a bit of time. It might want to do some updates. That takes a fair amount of time. If you stay on the same laptop, you'll save that profile creating time. Your computer will run more quickly, and you'll just save a lot of valuable lab time. Another reason is when we do the self-directed accelerometer lab, a lot of students leave the lab and go places where Wi-Fi is not available. If you try to do that with a LabVIEW with a laptop you've never set up before, it will try to set up that profile, but because it doesn't have internet connection, it won't be able to do it, and that computer will be useless to you at that point. So get a laptop that works and use it every time. This first pop-up screen here, we don't actually want either of these options. We want to come to File and select New VI. You saw in the last video what the block diagram and front panel are. You can set it up like this. If you run out of real estate, some of our programs might get to be a little large. It's pretty easy just to switch between the two of them here. Since we are just getting a little intro here, we don't need a lot of real estate. I'll show you both of them together. Some of the stuff I'm going to show you here requires that we have a DAC plugged in. There is a way to simulate that, and I will show you that in a separate video. That will be very useful for you if you're at home practicing. That will be in the Measurement and Automation Explorer video. For right now, I'll just show you I have a USB 6009 plugged in. This is what it looks like. I've shown you that in lecture. It simply plugs into our laptop via USB. I recommend that you plug into the port that has a lightning symbol. I believe for most of these laptops it's on the right hand side when you're looking at your laptop. We want that little symbol. It provides a higher output voltage that will power our USBs better. Sometimes the USB looks like it's on, but it just doesn't have enough power to work, and one of the reasons might be that you're not plugged into this port. On a side note, this, besides having additional power, also means that it is on during standby mode. So this isn't really useful for our labs, but if you are trying to charge your phone or iPad or whatever when you don't have your computer on and you want it done more quickly, this port will do that for you. Anyways, I have one of those plugged in. Many of our labs are going to start with, so here we're bringing up the functions palette. You can have this open all the time. I like to just have it closed and right click to have it pop up. This helps save some of that real estate. If you come down to Express and Input and DAC Assistant, like I said, this is usually how we start. This represents that DAC, whatever DAC I have plugged in. I click on that and I can come in here and I can tell what kind of input I want. Most of the time we're going to be doing voltage. With these DACs, I believe we're always doing voltage. Some other ones we have allow us to do temperature. We'll talk about that then. But select voltage. You can pick what input. You could select multiple here. If you want to hold down Shift and pick the bottom, you could pick them all, or you can just hold Control and pick different ones individually. This, I won't get into a whole lot of detail, but this just allows us to set our input range, our terminal configuration, our sampling rate, how many samples to read, whether we're just doing a certain number of samples or continuous samples. We'll talk about that in some of the later videos, more specific to each lab. This connection diagram is also helpful. It helps show, based on what channel we selected, where we should connect those leads. I'm mostly just putting this up here so we have something to work with. Now, one of the tips and tricks I want to show you was to bring up this. Why is that not working? Something is frozen here. Oh, there we go. So it takes some time to build our VI, is what it says, but it's just getting our DAC ready, essentially. That trick or tip I was going to show you was to come up to the Help menu and show Context Help. When you have this, it's very useful. Let me just bring up one more thing first so I can show how it works. Let's bring up just an add function. Sorry, my phone is ringing. I'll neglect that for now. They'll leave a message. What this context help does is it allows us to hover over anything and see what all the options are available to us. So, you can also, you see this pop up over here, but you can see more info all at once right there. It can help you find something instead of just having to go through each of these and waiting for them to pop up. If you switch to a different device, it'll switch to that, and it'll show you. So if I want to add two things together, I put X here, I put Y here, and my output is there. That's very useful if you're not very familiar with LabVIEW. Now let's wire up a couple things. To do that, we want to have our tools palette. Where is that? So here in View, Tools Palette. So if it's not already up for you, you want to bring it up in that way. There are a number of different options here. You can pick down here one specific function, one specific tool. Say you're wiring two things up, you can pick this. Normally I like to have it on this automatic selection or automatic tool selection. When you have that and this light is set up, it automatically picks what it thinks you want to do out of these options, and usually it gets it right. There are some times where there are two options available and it will pick the one that you don't want to do. If you're ever trying to turn something on and it's thinking you want to change the text of that button, then you might have to come over here and select it by hand. But usually just having this on works well. So we want to come over here, we see in our context menu, or context help, we have data out right here. So you can come and hover over here. If you look up here, this is hopefully will automatically switch to the wiring tool. It did. We want to bring this over here and bring this into Y. And say we noticed there was just some calibration error. So we want to add what we need to add to our output to get it to be correct. You could hover over this X value, right click, and create control. So this, let's name this offset. This, you saw this showed up on our front panel. So say we realized there was that calibration error, we needed to add, or you could put a negative number here and it result in a subtraction to take care of that offset. This is a control. That's our input. Another similar thing to that is the indicators. They're the output. Just for now, just know that's there. You'll see later. So here we could create indicator. Waveform graph. So you see here, this shows up on our front panel. See, we're already running out of real estate. But there are different kinds of indicators. This will show us the type of data that we're getting as an output. Note, when we're in the block diagram, we have a functions palette that shows up. When we're on the front panel, we have a controls palette that shows up. Let's say we wired something in, and then let's put in another function here. Put a subtraction thing in here, we'll wire it up. And then we realize see, it wasn't selecting what I wanted. Thought I wanted to do more wiring, but say we want to select this and delete it. So now we have some wiring here that we don't want. One thing that you can do to clean that up, a shortcut is just to hit Control B, and that'll clean up any unused wires. I believe this does the same thing. Yeah, you can just click right there. So this up here is your status bar. We should spend a little bit of time talking about these. This is how we run our program once we've created it. You can run continuously. Once you've run it, so you have kind of two different options of stopping it, or actually there are more. You can pause it here. You can also have a stop set up. See it right there? You could set up a stop, so you could do that from your front panel. The pause or the stop are kind of lighter versions of stop. This stop sign here, since we're not running, this is grayed out, but if we were running, this would show up. It wouldn't be grayed out. And when you hit that, that's like a hard stop. You just end all functioning of your program. This is like an, oh crap, my hair's stuck in the lathe, gotta turn it off. I think that's about it for these useful tips. Look for the next video, please.